Don't chase the herd, don't lose your way. Find your edge and trade the right away. Right away, action.
Good morning, traders. And Doug here with Right Way Options. We're gearing up here for the Friday edition of the Morning Market Prep on January 23rd, 2026. Hope everyone is doing well. Boy, this is a cold country right now. Hope you're safe. Hope you're warm. Let's dive right in and take a look at what happened here overnight. First off, if we take a look at Asian markets, mostly higher last night. We saw Shanghai was up 1358 or 0.33%. India was lower by 241.25 or 0.95%. The Nikkei was higher by 157.98 or 0.29%. South Korea higher by 37.54, 0.76%. We've got Hong Kong up 119.55 or 0.45%. And Australia's market up $11.40 or 0.10%. If we take a look at European markets this morning, we have the DAX this morning pushing higher, up at $10.83 or 0.04% in a pretty modest Europe this morning. FTSE is up $3.85 or 0.04%, and we're looking at the CAC down 31.55 or 0.39% here this morning. U.S. futures this morning are also on the bearish side, just slightly on the bearish side. We have the Dow futures down 83 points here this morning at the moment. S&P 500 futures down $3.25, and NASDAQ futures down $8.50 here at the moment. Taking a look at what we have going on in bond prices here this morning, our bond prices showing just a little bit of mix in there. The 2-year bond is coming in at 3.60%. We've got the 10-year bond at 4.24%, and that 30-year bond is still coming down ever so slightly by 4.83%. here this morning. If we take a look at the US dollar is not getting too much energy here at the moment. Still feeling a little bit on that bearish side. We'll have to see if this is going to be that major lower high here in the market, finding some of that resistance in here. But we still have that potential of some support. So as long as we don't fall on through here and make new lows, we still have that chance that dollar could start picking up and gaining a little bit of energy. So keep an eye on that. If we take a look at what's going on in the precious metals market this morning, boy, gold is staying very tenacious. Gold pulling back from yesterday's high in a gap down here overnight, but it is pushing back up here slightly at the moment. We are up $10.20 an ounce in gold this morning, $4,924 an ounce. If we take a look at silver is continuing to push to new highs here. We've got silver at the moment up $2.40 an ounce at $98.78 an ounce. Holy moly. Really showing some strength there in silver. If we take a look at copper is a little bit higher here this morning on copper futures. You can see COPX has pulled back. Some of those miners pulled back for a couple of days, hammered in here yesterday, and some of those miners are starting to look a little bit higher this morning, with copper up just about 7 cents here this morning. Platinum continuing to stretch out after a big push up yesterday. We had a gap down overnight and then pushing back up here this morning, but right now platinum is up $131.10 an ounce, or 5.12% here this morning. And palladium is also moving up here this morning, $57.30 an ounce, or 0.97% higher. Now, if we take a look at how the cryptos are doing this morning, a little bit of mix in here. Bitcoin this morning still struggling just a bit, down 318.88 a coin, or 0.35% lower. Ether, however, is trying to push back up at the moment. Right now up $3.43, or 0.12%. Solana this morning down $1.05 an ounce, 0.82% here this morning. And just kind of a mix. We've got Doge going up just a little bit, XRP down just a little bit. So just a little modest moves in here, just up and down, up and down, up and down in some of those cryptos here this morning. Let's take a look at what we have going on in oil. Oil pulled back yesterday pretty substantially and then bounced. This morning we have oil pushing higher, up $1.02 this morning in oil futures at $60.37 an ounce, as oil continues to be quite volatile over all the geopolitical things going on. If we take a look at Brent crude, Brent's coming in at $65.12 a barrel this morning, and natural gas is pulling back just a tiny little bit, already starting to bounce up here right now, down 8 cents after several days of a really strong rally due to this cold snap here in the country. Let's take a look. Well, actually, I think that's all. So how about we settle in? Let's buckle up. Let's get ready for the Friday edition of the Morning Market Prep video. Good morning once again, everyone, and thanks so much for being here. I very much appreciate it. Let's take a look at these index charts and see if we can figure out how we might want to approach the market for today. Remember, we want to look at these charts for what they are, not for what we want them to be. We want to shake off that bias and really focus in on the details of this chart so we can do a better job of approaching the market for the day. Now, when we take a look at the diamonds, quite the rebound in here. We pushed up and gave a really good effort to try and break out here and set a new record high. Didn't quite get her done, but in that effort, good recovery here on the diamonds. A little bit of a shooting star pattern in here that gives us maybe that little hint of a little bit of toppiness at the moment right there. So watch this carefully. What's good about this is we smashed right back through that little price action resistance from underneath. So perhaps a little bit of rest might be due today. Not a lot of data to go on today, and maybe just a little bit of resting consolidation in here. I think as long as we stay in this range, we're probably okay. If we push back down, fill that gap of yesterday, testing the top side of that candle, no problem in there. As a matter of fact, I think we could push down, and as long as we don't really break some of this congestion area up here, I think we're going to be okay. If we were to reverse hard enough in here that we broke back down below that support, start to raise some questions, and of course, probably get a little bit of fear coming into the market if we were to take out those candle lows. That takes some pretty good bearishness to get us going. Don't really see that in the market right now, but anything is possible, particularly on any of that news cycle or politically generated news events. If we take a look at our SPY, big push back to the upside in here. But we didn't quite breach this resistance here in the chart. So we still have that complication. If the bulls can push this on through, we really need to see if we can pop back up through that resistance here in the chart. And then we can start stretching up here to test all-time highs in the SPY. The concern here at the moment with this resistance, what we don't want to see if you're a bull, is this maybe rolling over in this area. Now, I think we can pull back a little bit here and be just fine. As a matter of fact, I would say if we were to pull back in here, even coming back into that area support, no major worries there on that at all. Might be just a little bit of a rest that we need in here for a bit to take a breather from all of this volatility. And I think if we hold above there, we're fine. It's if we were to start taking back some of that candle of yesterday and really pushing back down toward that 50-day moving average. You can see that 50-day, if we were to push down into that 50-day, we're probably going to be okay if we hold that 50. It's just going to really raise a lot of fear in the market, and taking out these recent lows is where the real fear would come in. And I know looking at that, everybody would say there's no way we can move that much in a day, but then I've got to point back to some of these candles and how quickly we really can reverse in the market should the market get upset about something here. So just watch that carefully. We have to consider the volatility that we have seen here in the market and have a plan to protect our capital if that does occur. And if we take a look at our QQQ also in that same risk situation. If the bulls can get going, we still need to break through that resistance area here. And more importantly, we're going to have to break through this big cap that we'd put here on the QQQ to see if we can break on through there. And I fear we might have to wait until we get more of those big tech earnings reports to make that decision. But if the bulls have it within them, pushing up in through here, getting up into this zone would be a lot more comfortable, I think, to be paying for this to rest in that area. Resting in this area in here where we have that chance that we could pull back, that's going to be a little bit of concern. I think we'll be okay as long as we hold this support. And if we were to rest in there and bounce off of this area, I think we're okay. Once again, if we were to break this on down in here, that's going to be the concern. And of course, taking out that low would just really bring in some fear. We will want to consider that right at the top of that candle there is our 50-day moving average. So we really don't have a whole lot of room for the Qs to move in where we could start raising that concern of that possible rollover here and a downtrend picking up in the QQQ if we were to lose that 50-day moving average again. So watch that carefully. Our IWM, there's no worries here at all. IWM, the strongest index of the bunch, and continuing to show bullishness in here as the market diversifies into a lot more stocks and continuing to show strength in a lot of that defensive sector, that discretionary stocks out there. They're still holding pretty strong. Let's take a look at our VIX. Our VIX saw a nice reduction of fear yesterday. Those bid-ask spreads and options coming in a little bit. We still want to keep in mind here that this is an upside trend in here. And although we've whipsawed quite a bit, if those bears were to come back in here and really start pushing today, picking up off of here could raise that fear pretty quickly, and I could see a fairly significant move if we get something in the news that really concerns the market. Now, if those bulls can continue to find this inspiration, then we need to see that trend break down. Pushing back down into some of this area of the support would make those bulls probably feel a little bit more comfortable to hang on in here. If we take a look at our T20s, our T21-22 indicator in here, looking at that, we did get a little bit carried away yesterday when we were up 400 points. We were up here in the bearish reversal zone. That whipsaw occurred, pulling us back. And now we show that little hockey stick in the air up here. I refer to that a lot from someone I learned a lot from years ago, by a guy by the name of David Elliott, great technician. And he called something like this hockey stick in the air, and would always reference, in hockey, when your hockey stick is sticking up there like that, you get penalized, sent to the penalty box. Hockey stick in the air often means we're going to get a little bit of rest, a little bit of pullback here in T21-22. It does not mean bearishness, by the way. It just means maybe nothing more than we've been pretty emotional this week. Maybe just a little bit of rest, a little bit of calming in the market, and that might rest us back here a little bit, but it doesn't hurt all that much. What you do want to notice in here is if the bulls do find inspiration, if they can push on up here, well, we don't have a whole lot of room for them in here to kind of max this out here in T21-22. We do have a lot of room for the bears to work. So any kind of little modest pullback would probably be a healthy thing for the market. Even just a little bit of choppy consolidation would be healthy for the market at the moment. And then T2108 had that little bit of a hockey stick up here again. Just a little bit of hesitation. Remember, we've been reaching up here in this frothy zone in T2108, and a little rest in here, a little consolidation in here would not hurt anything. We might start gaining a little bit of concern or worry if we take out that low here the other day and start pushing this really back down through that upside trend. Honestly, though, I don't see that energy in the market on the bearish side, but we always have to pay attention to those events, those news events that could spark us into a quick reversal. So watch that carefully. Same here with T2107. I don't see any major problem in this other than we're a little bit up here in that frothy zone of T2107. Might need a little bit of rest. Again, as long as we don't take out that low and we've got really good support in here, we also have this upside trend. As long as those hold, I think we're in pretty good shape. And then our T2101 was showing us yesterday that maybe the bulls they just got a little bit tired. They've been running hard here the last couple of days and maybe just need a little bit of rest. We saw that breadth pushing up, but then by the end of the day, it was just kind of declining. The bulls kind of lost that edge just a little bit, maybe just pushing those valuations a little too far, too fast. Might need a little bit of rest. Remember, what we don't want to see in here is we don't want to see this breadth really picking up strongly on any kind of a bearish move. That would give that upper hand to the bears, and that's where some fear could really come into the market. As long as we just kind of drift along in here, I don't see that as a big problem. And if this bearish wave, if we get that resting pullback here in the market and the breadth of the bears doesn't come in strong, I'm going to see that as bullish, as long as those bears don't really get a major grip on some momentum here in the market. I think we're okay. Let's take a look at our economic calendar here for today. And our economic calendar, well, we got a little bit to think about, but not nearly what we've been dealing with here lately. As you can see, we've got a PMI composite flash in here this morning. That'll be at 9:45. They didn't give us a composite consensus number in here, so keep an eye on that. They are saying manufacturing is going to tick just a little bit higher, and that our services are going to tick just a little bit higher. So watch that today. And then probably the more market moving report is going to be the consumer sentiment in here. Right now they're suggesting that stays flat at 54. So watch that one this morning. And then after that, we've got a leading indicators report, which is not particularly market moving at all. So by 10 o'clock, we're done with all of our economic reports in here. On the earnings calendar, we have a much lighter day today, considerably lighter. And for notables, nothing like really big. We've got BAH here reporting this morning. Nice pop on that earnings report. Give that to them. Really pushing up. Gotta like that. Particularly if you're holding that, so it's nice to see breaking through that 100 level here in BAH. We have CMA reporting today. Not much action in that. Maybe it hasn't reported just yet. Schlumberger reporting this morning. It looks like that's trying to push on up here just a little bit, hanging in there really well on Schlumberger. And WBS, not something that's likely to move the market today, but that's it. That's kind of all we have in those earnings reports for today. So don't be surprised if we end up with a little bit of choppy whipsawing market here as we get through these data points this morning, and then just kind of slide into the weekend. Holding on to the bullish gains probably, but maybe just drifting along here, waiting for more inspiration in data. Of course, we do have that weekend, and weekends here lately, we've been getting a lot of political stuff going on the weekends, and we will want to be kind of keeping an eye on what's going on in Iran, particularly since our our carriers are getting close in there if they've not already arrived into the strait. So watch that carefully in case military actions happen to pop up on Iran. Watch that one close. Let's take a look at our let's take a look at some stocks that could be setting up for today. How about we do that? But before we do that, if you guys could do me that quick favor, if this is the first time you've seen these videos, if you could please click that subscribe button on YouTube and click that bell icon when it pops up so you'll be notified every time I post a video. And if you find these videos to be useful, to be helpful, I'd truly appreciate it if you could do me that favor. Click that thumbs up button, leave that brief comment. That helps the channel to grow. Thank you so much to everyone who does that. For those of you who share these videos out on your social media feed, that helps an awful lot in reaching more people. So thank you so much for all your kind support and kind help. I truly appreciate it. Let's take a look at some stocks that could be setting up. And my goodness, there are so many bullish charts out there to be paying attention to. It really is kind of difficult to know what we should be looking at. Of course, anything in that mining sector has been doing incredibly well. Barrick Gold, KGC, you can just you can look through silver, really strong yesterday. There's just so much going on in that sector. Just about anything looks good. We had earnings from Alcoa yesterday. Didn't really move that stock much, so we're holding in this nice little resting, consolidating pattern in here. Even aluminum holding considerable strength. And I would continue to keep an eye on steel as well. Steel showing lots of strength, breaking through resistance up here in Steel Dynamics, pulling back a little bit yesterday, saying we need a bit of a rest. But watch this carefully in here. I see every reason to believe that could push on through to the upside. And if you've been watching the morning prep videos, Should have seen this one, and my goodness, Nucor, what a nice move up there in Nucor, continuing to show strength. Maybe a little rest is due in here. I wouldn't chase it anyway at this moment. Just wait for that next opportunity in this, for this to set up, and take a look at that. And then, of course, take a look at Cleveland Cliffs. Cleveland also breaking through some important resistance here. Now let's see if it can hold up here, and that might set up that higher low. We push up, then we want to see that resting pattern occur, and then push on higher, and that establishes or reestablishes an upside trend. So keep an eye on CLF. Looking pretty good in there overall. Take a look at what's been going on in coal. Still showing some strength yesterday, pulling back just a little bit, but really strong move here on coal. Any rest, any pullback in here, I would suggest sets up that next opportunity here in BTU. Watch that carefully. One of the members of the trading room brought my attention to this one, and thank you for that. It's one of the benefits of being in a trading room is there's all kinds of eyes on the market and lots of great ideas that come up. And if you take a look here, AREC, nice little push to the upside. Any little rest or pullback would set up an opportunity. Dealing with this resistance right in here at the moment, but the energy that we have, well, kind of a pun here, but the energy that we have in these energy companies is really strong, and I think it's going to continue. It's all about power generation to reach those AI goals here in the country. Whether you agree with it or don't agree with it, it doesn't really matter. Power is going to be the story here for a while. So keep an eye on some of those power things in here. Even I saw this is a little teeny tiny guy as well. Plug Power had a big push. This is fuel cell technology. And Plug taking a nice push here yesterday, breaking through some resistance. You might want to keep an eye on that. I would certainly continue to watch these uranium companies. I'm continuing to hold my UEC position from all the way back over here. Phenomenal profits in it so far, and this run, remarkable. Keep an eye on that. I do not think anyone should be chasing this to buy it at the moment. Wait for a rest, and the rest could be substantial. After a run like this, the rest could be a nice little long consolidation. It could be a substantial pullback. So be kind of careful in here, but still lots of bullishness in that sector. Seeing great results in these uranium plays as they continue to push and stretch and make new highs. Tremendous follow through here in uranium. Other places that you might want to look on the big tech side, Google, probably one of the best ones out there right now. Holding up here above support, regained some of that support. Little rest in here might be good for it, and then I'd look for that next potential push to the upside. Remember, we're going to be reporting earnings after the first of the month here on Google, so every reason to believe that could rally toward those earnings if you're looking for something in there. Continue to look at some of these stocks that are just getting a little bit of a resting pullback in here. Carvana coming back into this upside trend. If we can hold this support area in here after breaking through, I'd look for that opportunity that might push on through. There's good stocks there. Home Depot, nice little resting consolidation in here after a big stretch up. I think it probably needs to rest a little bit more, but if those bulls can push this on through and break through this resistance up here, every reason to believe that we've got some opportunities in here. And one of the things with all the construction that's going on in the country, I would keep an eye on some of these kind of stocks in here for that opportunity. with all the construction that is picking up here around the country. Also keep an eye on Lowe's, more of a home improvement, but still showing nice strength in here, trying to break through this resistance and hold. Every reason to believe Lowe's could continue to hold up in here and do quite well. Even things like building suppliers, Masco in here. Beautiful potential setup in here coming on Masco. Fastenal might be another. Breaking through this downtrend, look for a little rest or pullback in that. And then other things out here, continue to watch stocks like Colgate. I think it needs a rest, but still showing strength. If you take a look at stocks like Altria in here, old, boring, defensive companies that pay really strong dividends, little rest, little pullback in here, look for that next opportunity. Some of the consumer things out here that were always, who doesn't like chocolate? Little rest, little pullback in here to hold that support. We could easily see that push on higher as well. Schmuckers making a nice move here, breaking this downtrend. Little rest in here, coming back to support. But you can see that possibility that we might be forming a bit of an inverted head and shoulders pattern in there. So watch this little resting pattern in here. If that can rest back, I'd look for that potential push to the upside there in Schmuckers. So keep an eye on some of those old borings in there that are looking just pretty darn good. Monster has been amazing this year, continuing to push on up. Any little rest, pullback in there, I would look for opportunities there in Monster as well. So plenty to look at, and I can go through a list right now. I'm telling you, you go through a list and everywhere there are bullish charts continuing to extend, showing strength. Make sure you take a look at what's going on in the regional banks. Really strong in regional banks. Make sure you take a look at what's going on in the semiconductors. Really strong. So there's plenty of stocks to choose from out there. The trick is trying to find the stocks that that fit your account and are working well with your rules and your guidelines. So y'all take care, be safe, have a great day. Wish you great results in your trading, and just as important, I hope you stay safe from all this cold and have a wonderful weekend. Take care, everyone. I'll see you right back here bright and early Monday morning. As always, wish you all the very best.